My poem, Palestine, dedicated to the modern state of Palestine and all martyrs. Palestine, O Palestine, reminiscence of the ancient time, the first recorded civilization of humankind, once prosperous city-states of creative minds, linking ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Assyria. Your culture and goods reached ancient China and India, a free land with high spirit known in history as Canaan, where vibrant communities celebrated life by the Mediterranean. Your peaceful, festive society and culture ended with partisan gods' worldly adventure, as Israelites burned your civilization with deadly massacre, ending thriving natural lifestyle in nightmare, inflicting endless diasporic migration of despair. You witnessed wars, occupations, annihilation in repetition. Bloodshed and revenge covered once pure land with pollution. Influx of people found homes surviving migratory persecution. Some destroyed you, while others blended in cultural unification. Your modern democracy was destroyed at inception, as the powerful evil force besieged you with obsession. But you rose again from the ashes of oppression, as an inspiration to the dream of worldwide freedom. Poems by Kolki. Without Zionist Evangelical Dream of making Pope the King of the United Kingdom of Israel, the New World, ancient Hebrews, Alexandrian Jews, rather Hellenistic Jews, and Palestinians of Canaan would have lived peacefully since signing the Oslo Peace Treaty, despite the fact that the Palestinians lost 87% of their land to the new state of Israel, which is a European Zionist Brainchild. But the problem is that the Zionist and Zionist Christian soldiers won the entire Palestine without the Palestinians, which is genocide. That is why Arafat-Rabin peace treaty ended in Bush-Sharon-Olmert road to Palestinian blood. Let us hear from the leader of Zionist Christian soldiers, Reverend John Hagee, speaking in Washington D.C. on July 17, 2007, during a night of Honor Israel that was hosted by Christians United for Israel, CUFI, and attended by 4,500 religious leaders, politicians, and lobbyists, including ex-CIA directors. Quote, when 50 million evangelical, Bible-believing Christians unite with the 5 million American Jews standing together on behalf of Israel, it is a match made in heaven. Let us shout it from the housetops that a new day has been born in America. The sleeping giant of Christian Zionism has awakened. If a line has to be drawn, draw the line around Christians and Jews. We are united, we are indivisible, and together we can reshape history. Pastor John Hagee also stated, the United States must join Israel in a preemptive military strike against Iran to fulfill God's plan for both Israel and the West, a biblically prophesied end-of-time confrontation with Iran, which will lead to the rapture or the tribulation and the second coming of Christ. CUFI's Washington D.C. inaugural event, July 19, 2006. And here is an excerpt from the book of Revelations, New Testament. The final battle in the history of the future will be fought on an ancient battle in northern Israel called Armageddon. It will follow 7 years of tribulation, during which the earth will be shaken by such disasters that previous human history will seem like a day in the country. The blood will rise as high as the horse's bridle at Armageddon, before Christ triumphs to begin his 1,000-year rule. And the same pastor, John Hagee again, and the Jews, well, 2/3 of them will have been wiped out by now, but the survivors will accept Jesus at last. Now the questions are, who is this Christ? Obviously not Yeshua of Nazareth, that was coined Jesus. And two, who are those Jews, non-Zionist world citizens, whom the United Zionist Christian soldiers and the Euro-American Jews planning to wipe out? Doesn't it resemble Hellenistic dream of Messiah like Alexandrian cross, instead of loving Yeshua or Jesus, conquering the world again, only sitting this time on a pile of nuclear and biological weapons to wipe out 2/3 of world population, leaving aristocratic Dorian Greeks to rule the promised world, using remaining 1/4 world population as converted slaves? This is the big picture that most scholars and academics, politicians, social thinkers are trying to avoid, addressing, leaving the fate of the world at the hands of imprudent pastors like John Hagee and his religious and political sympathizers. World citizens must ask, isn't Mr. John Hagee acting like a super terrorist who is preaching end of the world to reshape history in his advantage at the cost of the world as we know of, and all his people except few chosen ones like him and his likeliness? God bless our world towards universal consciousness.